Welcome, everybody. Today we have a special guest. His name is David Lee. I'm very happy to invite him to this special, let's say, Kickstarter, I Will Rise video or interview. And we recently met through our mutual art because we have a passion for Afrofuturism. And David Lee, he's into music, he's a producer, he's very talented and creative. And I stumbled over his work and I was so fascinating because at that time I was preparing some visuals for my campaign and also for the sneaker and the story around, and it was matching 100% perfectly. So this was, I think, the beginning of a love story. So today we have you here, David Lee.
Yes.
And yeah, maybe you can tell us a little bit about your life, where you have been growing up, and how did you came to music and also to the, let's say, Afrofuturistic cosmos that is also present in your visuals, I have to say, because you have also photography and you have a, let's say, a music combo, and this is also showing through visual and fashion as well. So please tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me, and it's always a pleasure to meet like-minded people, especially in Germany. That's quite rare. I mean, there are more and more coming, but yeah, it's always nice to be surprised by art and by the work of others. And yeah, and I also have to say I was very flashed by the 3D animations and the whole project I saw online. Yeah, shout out to Eva, my ex-girlfriend. She posted about you and you took photos of her. So that's how I got to know your work. And yeah, when it comes to me, I have to maybe shorten it up a little bit. So I started music because of my dad. That's always the story. Yeah, the musician starts music because of the dad. But it's really the case. If you see in the background, there are records of my dad. He had a funk and soul club. I think in the end of the 70s in Düsseldorf, in my hometown. It's
what was the name of the
Funky Corner? It's a spot called the Mauer, the Mauer. The wall translated, and there was the funk and soul club based, and yeah, he was one of the few who actually started to play black music, funk and soul, but also some high life music in Germany. Beside the army bases in Frankfurt and other places where they had this black kind of music played, there wasn't much. So he decided to make his passion into his daily job, and yeah, and opened the club and DJ there. So that's how I grew up. When others listened to the radio or to some, I don't know, at that time cassettes, we were playing records at home, and mainly black music and high life and all of this thing. But it took a little bit longer until I decided to also do music. I started with DJing when I was like 18, and then also did parties, DJed at parties. At that time, it was more hip hop, and then later on electronic music like breakbeats, new school breaks, UK garage, house, French house. And but I was also always fascinated by this combination of different styles into electronic music. Like, for example, Daft Punk were some of the innovators, and then also some guys and girls in France, and then in UK, especially that fusion of Jamaican dancehall and those rhythms and drum and bass and breakbeat. Those were the kind of inspirations I took. And then later on, I had my own label based also with focus on new school breaks music. I also did some live shows, like a live performance thing. And then when I was like, I think,
when was this exactly? When was this, and what was the name of the label?
The label was called Bastard Records with BASS, with like the bass. because I'm into bass, and my artist name is Lee Bass. So yeah, so there was a name, Bastard Records, and there was, I think, when I was 23, 24, something like
so
that.
You got your artist name Lee Bass already by that time, or even before? Okay.
Yeah, I had that, but I had that artist name. But at that time, I just started to get into music production. I had some people I was working with. I had another project which was called I Like, here in Düsseldorf with Matt Floss. I learned a lot from him, music production wise and mixing wise, and all of this. So and at that time, I decided to do more of my own production. Yeah, and actually the first beat I produced for a vocalist on my own was the track Chukuru, which then started the project Gato Preto. As Gato Preto is the Afrofuturistic project I launched together with Carmen here in Düsseldorf, and she's a vocalist and performer of our project. It started as a two people project, and with one single which we released on a label here in Germany, and then also we decided to make a live project out of it. At that time it was more basic, like a DJ MC kind of thing, and then all of a sudden it
exploded.
It took its path into the Afrofuturism cosmos, which we also didn't plan to do. So we just started and said, okay, let's go.
So how was it with fashion? I mean, when you talk about Afrofuturism, it was also the music, but also the appearance, right? During the performance. So this was something that you added over time or changed over time?
Like the basic thing about our identity and our journey was that we grew up in Europe as a diaspora. I mean, I have African roots in Ghana, and I have my German roots here. Carmen was socialized grew up in Lisbon in Portugal, and she never ever visited Africa. You know, she never visited Mozambique because they were refugees. They couldn't just go back to Mozambique at that time. And then all of a sudden, they also didn't want to go back because they were based in Portugal, you know, and the parents had their business and, you know, had to take care of their family. So she never visited Africa, but she grew up in the African environment in Lisbon. You know, she grew up in the African part of Lisbon. And if you have been to Lisbon, then you know what I'm talking about. You know, they are very strong African roots and very strong African things they live, they are proud of. Especially from the Mozambican and Angolan communities. So she really had those African roots, although she has never been to Africa herself.
Yeah.
So when we started the project, we decided actually to not look too African, and also not to look too how you say,
westernized or European.
Yeah, European, like what the European view on Africa is. So we really wanted to have our own identity, you know, like Carmen, for example, as a strong woman, and me as a mixed guy who grew up in Germany, you know. So we were trying to create a new look on us, and also on Africa, and also on Europe. We wanted to fuse everything into our music, our art, and also the early lyrics of the music were very revolutionary and very in your face. You know, if you translate everything what Carmen is saying, she just let it all out. And also with me, that the beats are very African driving, like it's just like very energetic. We just wanted to let everything out, you know, and we just wanted to.
And the lyrics are in Portuguese, right? Or
yes.
Do you use different languages on the tracks? It's Portuguese, right?
It's Portuguese mainly. It's Portuguese mainly. Sometimes No, we didn't do any. No, there are no English lyrics. Yeah, of course, when we had some feature artists, the lyrics were in English, but our lyrics, her lyrics were in Portuguese. Yeah.
Great.
And
yeah, it's very interesting because the footwear project at the moment is also blending Ghanaian textiles with Portuguese manufacturing. And when I saw Gato Preto music, I was like, okay, this is maybe the same thing, but in terms of music, you know, not a product of music. So I was very, also inspired or flashed by this.
Yeah, there are some.
Yeah, please.
There are a lot of similarities, and that's the concept of Afrofuturism. You know, that's the concept of Afrofuturism.
Yeah.
So I guess we're going to get into that.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, in Afrofuturism, it's like I think the reason why this is so strong, because there are different kind of, let's say, science fiction or futurism things, but Afrofuturism, I think it's very, very special or very powerful because there's a tremendous need for it, you know, because there was so much, let's say, frozen through colonialism, and also, let's say, what we have now, I mean, post-colonialism. And we're thinking about, okay, how would it look if there wouldn't be so much impact, or how would it look if we look, let's say, a few hundred years from now, or, you know, if we combine the pre-colonial past with the future. And I think it's the same with hip-hop music, for example. I mean, many people, they talk and sing in their music, they make texts and songs about flowers and beautiful things and love and this and that. But if you have some need, that something social that affects your life, your being, maybe every day on this planet, it gets a special power, I think. So that's the reason why I think that Afrofuturism is something very unique and powerful, combined to, let's say, normal science fiction things.
For sure. Yeah, our journey to Afrofuturism, we didn't, as I said, we didn't plan to create such a thing. I knew that this was happening and that there are artists, but I didn't pay attention to it. I always focus on, or we focus on what we want to do and how we want to be. And that was like the main reason why we did the things we did. We wanted to create an identity, as I said. And then of course we did some research on Lee Scratch Perry and George Clinton and what's her name?
Monk, maybe. Thelonious Monk.
No, but MF Doom, for example, and also on Wu-Tang Clan,
maybe
Afrika Bambaataa as well. I grew up with it, and
Sun Ra. You grew up with Afrika Bambaataa.
Yes, I grew up with Africa. Sun Ra, for example, I grew up with Sun Ra, and also Michel Monet. So Michel Monet is also one artist who Carmen really looks up to. But it wasn't because of this aspect of Afrofuturism. It was because she, and also Missy Elliott also huge influence for us. With Missy Elliott and Michel Monet or Jeanette Monet and all these artists, Sun Ra, for example, as well. They all had this strong appearance, you know, this appearance, the way they were dressing, but also some kind of seriousness. It wasn't just about pop culture and I will create a cosmos and I want to sell something. They lived it, like especially Sun Ra and all these big artists. In the pop culture, they lived what they believed in, and they wanted to make a change. That's why they had this seriousness about their appearance and this kind of proudness. And I remember that I was really flashed about that, you know, and this is something which is also lacking, or for a long time was lacking in the Afro-German diaspora, they were looking up to idols like the hip hop culture and the hip hop culture and the American culture, but we never really looked up to African kings and queens. So after we were like checking on those American inspired Afrofuturism artists, we somehow went to the African continent, and we were like, okay, let's see what we can see there, what is going on there. And
was it the first time you went to Africa then, or did you travel?
No, I mean not like combo. Physically
okay.
go there, like in terms of like putting some names on Google and looking at what is going on, you know, like especially when it comes to science fiction innovations in Africa, what is going on the continent, you know. And that's why we dug deep into inspiring people and art coming from the continent. And all of this input combined, we put in our art, you know. And at that point, we decided, like the first video was Chikudu, where you already see those roots in our art, where we say, okay, we want those African, we only want black kids from Germany, who are based in Germany, but who have this strong African connection. We don't want any, no offense, white people in our video. We only want black people, and we want to celebrate what we have, but in a way that we create our own cosmos, we create our own identity. And those guys also never, part of them never been to Africa, but we combined this we combined their African roots with a modern approach, you know. They did, like for example in the Chikudu video, they dance Krump, you know, which is also based on African dances, war dances, you know, this battling thing. This coming from Africa, and they didn't know that, you know. We were like teaching them on the traditions and showed them some videos about Africa. We were like, hey, look, this is where the roots are, the real roots of Krump, you know. And when you look at the Krump documentaries, they also say that, you know. And then also we put in the fashion, the painting. The paintings we use there aren't traditional paintings. We just took different approach to make it look more modern, you know. So all of this together was very strange for the people to look. Some of the people in Africa were like, oh, you guys are doing voodoo ceremonies and blah, blah, blah. You know, they were the African people, the African side, they were like very, very confused about these images, but we didn't care, you know. So that's like the how we started. We didn't think about Afrofuturism. We just created something.
So basically it was like a personal approach, let's say, to strengthen your own core, or let's say mind, or, you know, connection, because it has something to do with how you walk through the life, right? You can walk like this and look to the ground, or you can raise yourself up, right, and rise. And so I think I can totally understand that you first, it's not about how other people care. I mean, even the black community or the Africans, they probably I mean, they might have criticized this, or it's in some way maybe they couldn't understand, but it's about strengthening your own core and create your own cosmos, and from there you go out and you make a connection, and you give it to the people, right?
Exactly. So at that point we never thought about Afrofuturism as a concept for us. We were just creating, and then we did the next video, which is Pirao, and that was like the main video and the main appearance where other people from this Afrofuturism context, where people who are specialized in Afrofuturism really paid attention to us, and where they came to us and said, hey, you guys, you're doing Afrofuturism. And that was the first time where we did some research on Afrofuturism, what it means and what it is, and if we really fit into that concept, because like nowadays people always find a genre and want to put you into that genre. They see your color, they see you and want to put you into something, and we didn't want that. So we were very at first we were very curious to see what this is about. We didn't just adapt it. We were just learning about Afrofuturism, and that concept of the video and the track fit perfectly into Afrofuturism. And that's where we were saying, okay, yeah, that's true. We really fit into this.
And it's a name. I often say, okay, what I do in my visual art is also like sankofa, like taking something from the past to create a positive future. And it's the same as Afrofuturism. It's only Afrofuturism, I think it derives from an article that was called Black to the Future or something. I think it was the first time somebody wrote the word Afrofuturism, but the concept is much older than that. So so it's in the end, it's only a word, and I think it's good to have a approach where you not open up a shelf and you try to do it on your own, because often, as you said, in art especially, or visual art or music, people tend to ask you, let's say you are a painter, people tend to ask you, okay, what is your idol, or in what kind of school do you see your work? And but who cares? Maybe you start a new school or you invent something new, but people always want to hear how you relate, and but sometimes it's about a personal the personal value and personal feeling that it's just correct path.
Exactly. And when you like with this Pirao video, Pirao is if you don't know, Pirao is some kind of like fufu, but maybe you also don't like fufu. It's like a, was heißt Brei auf Englisch? Brei, like
some sort of like porridge style,
Pirao is some sort of a porridge which the poor eat, like that's in Mozambique and Angola, and then also in Ghana it's fufu made of cassava, stomped. You stomp it, and that's the everyday food everyone eats. And back in the day,
and plantain,
like yam and plantain pounded, and then you eat it with some sort of a sauce. And each and every African part in Africa has something like that, like couscous, for example, in North Africa, and the list goes on and on, So at first I said, okay, I want to do a fufu song, because that food needs to be celebrated. It's nice. And then
it's interesting because you have the rhythm in the food, in the fufu, because you need a specific rhythm. So I think the connection is very interesting to food and music over sound and rhythm.
Yeah, definitely. Nice. So, but Carmen said, we don't have fufu in Mozambique. Let's make it Portuguese. Let's make it pirao. So then we did a pirao song, which is basically a recipe, like a story where the whole family, and I think every African person growing up knows this, like the family is together and everybody's cooking, and then the mama is calling the uncle to bring the pepper or the tomatoes. Somebody cuts the tomatoes, put it in basically it's a recipe what she's rapping about, And then we were like, okay, that's like quite traditional, so we need some visual approach to it. So we came up with a story that Carmen and me are in a far away spaceship, and we are very, very superior, a whole nother species. We are the evolution of what will be in million years from now. We don't even live on Earth. We created our own galaxy. We live in a whole nother universe. And we are at that time, like, because we are the evolution, the evolutionary species, we are no more black or white. We are silver and black. Like we have a silver body. Like the main part of our body is silver, and in the middle is just a black. So, and we both of us, we look back at what we did on the African continent. Not even on the western side. We paid attention to what was going on the African continent, that they had everything, that they had food, they had every nutrition they needed, but they denied all this. They forgot about this. The African continent forgot about their roots, forgot about what they have there. They wanted to adapt the Western approach, and that killed the whole planet. And that's why we went and left the planet and went to another planet. The all species mixed, and we are now the evolution. And we are making fun of what was going on Earth. Not only we make fun of the white approach, the Western approach, we also make fun of the African approach, because they are so dumb to deny their roots, to deny their color, to deny even their food, don't eat their food. And we sit there, eating popcorn and seeing those images of stomping fufu, because we had like images from Ghana, stomping fufu and blah, 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 and we talk about this old recipe in the song. We sing the song, we sing the old song from this forgotten species. We also have like the cassava and the yam in some sort of glass objects where the camera zooms in, looks at those old food things, like this stuff. And yeah, it's quite interesting, and this 100% fits into Afrofuturism, the whole look and also the approach and the message behind it. That was the video where we said, okay, where other came and said, you guys are doing Afrofuturism. This is amazing, and people who are smarter than us were analyzing it, and then we also got invited by the Goethe Institute to we went to Joburg, to South Africa, for a panel talk, and it was like a whole week where they invited Afrofuturism people artists from all over the world. There were writers, there were musicians, there were painters, guys a lady who wrote Afrofuturism novels. And all these people were talking about their art and also our art. And we were like, okay, that's crazy. And that was like, I think in 2015 or 2016, where we were invited to Joburg, to South Africa. And there we said, okay, now I guess that's Afrofuturism. We are part of that journey, that we fit into it.
Yeah, that's interesting. So this was the beginning of let's say exposing this to the world. I mean, also your music, your approach. So you traveled the first time, I guess, with Gato Preto music for this distance to South Africa. And so was it the start of a big tour, or?
I mean, we've been touring right from the start. We've been playing everywhere. We've been playing in Europe and all of that, and then also we were very lucky to play a lot of times in Africa, in Uganda, and we went to Ghana, South Africa, and we played everywhere. And celebrated what we are doing. But we have to go back to what Afrofuturism stands for. Afrofuturism is. I made some notes here because otherwise I forgot. It combines traditions, like roots of the African continent. Even the guys and girls in America, they also took roots. They also went back to Africa, to the African continent. You always think of, okay, that's Afrofuturism started in America. Afrofuturism, yes, maybe, but like they took the roots to the African continent, and took the roots from there and
started in Africa, probably.
It started in Africa, of course. Yeah. Of course, they started it in America because of the pop culture and all that, all the history they had because of the slavery and everything. They needed to have something to gain their own identity back, and that Afrofuturism thing helped them a lot, you know, but the roots are in Africa. Without roots, there's no Afrofuturism. Then there comes feminism. You know, Afrofuturism always has a very strong approach in feminism. If you look at the female percentage in Afrofuturism is huge, because you have to see, not only have black women have to fight for their look at their color, you know, like they don't have only to fight racism, they also have to fight sexism, you know. So these are two strong things in the pop culture, in our culture, you know, and especially when you are a black woman, like the body type and all these stereotypes you have, you know, with those curves. And imagine that it's like it's even worse for I would imagine, I cannot talk for my sisters, but I can only imagine how hard it is to grow up as a black or maybe also mixed woman in a westernized context and have to fight both sides, you know. And with Afrofuturism, that side, those things they can fight, you know. They have many tools, many weapons to fight it in an approach where they don't point a gun in your face and shoot and are too aggressive, you know, because sometimes all these approaches aren't in your face in Afrofuturism. You can hide it in, you know, hide it behind a science fiction story, hide it behind a nice outfit, hide it behind, you know. But in the end, you have this strong Afrofuturism warrior queen, like in Black Panther, those you know, those girls ladies who fight, which is a true story, by the way, you know, African warrior queens we have, and it's amazing, you know, that's amazing. So we have feminism, we have racism, we also have the pop culture approach, you know, which I would say is very important, because people can take back all the heavy topics and say, wow, I look at that nice video by Sanra, by Wu-Tang Clan, as for example. Also, they also have a strong Afrofuturism approach, you know, and you can celebrate, you know, you can party with the people, you can have a good time, but the message is still there. The message is clear. If you dig into it, it's there. It's in your face, you know.
And what's also worth to mention is that there are also visually more subtle approaches, like W.E.B. Du Bois, who has written The Comet in 1920. So it was at the end of the Spanish flu. And I mean, there's nothing about, let's say, costumes or fashion or music or anything included, but it's about envisioning a future society by this incident of a big comet, let's say, scraping over New York and, let's say, changing the whole demography there from one moment to the next. So it's also interesting to see those subtle approaches in terms of visual aesthetics, but they're still very bold and strong in terms of Afrofuturistic value.
Yeah, and for me the biggest story of our lifetime, which is a double Afrofuturistic proof of double Afrofuturistic story, a story in its story, is The Matrix. So the true story behind The Matrix is that it was written, the original script of The Matrix and Terminator were written by a black author, by a black female author, and her name is called Sophia Stewart, and she got robbed by Hollywood, by a white supremacist big capitalistic system. She got robbed of her script. She wrote the original script of The Matrix and also Terminator, and that script was called the Third Eye Matrix. You know, and if you want to do some research on it, you find a book about the Third Eye Matrix and the whole story behind Sophia Stewart and how she fought against this system of robbing her of her own thoughts, of her own identity, of what she stands for. And it took until 2015. Yeah, that's like 16 years. Yeah, 16 years. I think 99, the first Matrix part came out. So it took her 16 years to win this battle, for her right, for her copyright, to get what she deserved. You have to imagine, like the Matrix, everybody knows the Matrix, everybody knows the Terminator. The Matrix was a Afrofuturistic story, a story of slavery. And if you look close into the whole storyline, of course they re-edited everything what she wrote, you know. But the whole storyline is there is a system, a new superior intelligence, yeah, which takes the humans as slaves for them, as batteries for them. You know, that is basically the story. And then you have a protagonist who comes and fights the system. You know, fights the system, and in the end, they are free. That's the basic concept of the Matrix. The whole cast was black. She wrote the script for a black cast. Neo, the main character in Matrix, should have been black. All the characters should have been black. Imagine that. And this
not only Morpheus.
And Morpheus, only Morpheus. And then there are some. I mean there are some black characters, but it's not. That's not the story. The story is that the whole cast, the whole story is about slavery, but the white system of capitalism to sell the whole film, to sell and make millions and millions out of a black idea. They just robbed that lady of her money, of her identity, of everything she was fighting for at that time. Imagine that. So that's why I'm saying it's a double Afrofuturistic story, but because she is black, she's a black lady, she had to fight all these fights, all these battles, what I was talking about: feminism, sexism, racism, and then capitalism, the wrong structures in this system which exploit people of color. She had to fight all these years, all these years. She had to fight to get her recognition and to get her identity back and to get a payback, So that is like the biggest, for me, the biggest Afrofuturistic story of our time. And I look at the Matrix and also Terminator. I look at these movies and in a whole different way. If I watch the Matrix,
was it Terminator 2 or also applied to Terminator 1? Because
it's Terminator 1. It's Terminator 1 basically, okay. And also that story
86 or something.
Yes, 80, and also this story. If you look at it, if you look at Terminator, this story. Just imagine the protagonists are black. I don't have to say anything more. If you want to dig into that story of her, Sophia Stewart, just Google her. There. I think you can buy the original script and also her whole story. Several people wrote a story about her, and it's just crazy, So. If you look,
I remember there was a prof, like an animation prof. He said, "You know what they used to say? Hollywood movies are still in black and white.
Yeah.
So it's about. I mean, maybe within the last 1 or 2 years, or since 2020, the industry is a bit more aware. But yeah, it's an old story, like painting faces of so-called Egyptians, or changing the appearance of Roman people, or make it very stereotypic.
Yeah.
Even cultures that are, for example, in the past, like in Roman time, there was not really a big split of Europe and Africa. There was only the Mediterranean. So the focus was the Mediterranean. Either it was North Africa or south of Europe, but the center was the Mediterranean. So what we have now through colonialism is the split between Europe and Africa, and also, I mean, the split between Western Eurasia and Eastern Eurasia, because Europe is not really a continent; it's just the left part of Eurasia. So we have two splits that doesn't make sense scientifically or historically, but it's only a political argumentation that it's spread it through, let's say, scientific or historic devices. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
And even, I mean, yeah, that's a big question. You have the Matrix, but you also have Black Panther. In the end, the question is how this money is, you know, also how the, let's say, black communities are benefiting out of this money, even if black, let's say, producers or script writers or directors would be paid fairly for this. The question is how they spend the money. You know, it's about the circulation of money flows and the system in general. Yeah, but yeah, very interesting. I will look it up. Her name was Stuart, right? Or
yeah, Sophia Stewart is her name.
Sophia Stewart. Okay.
She's written with PH.
Okay.
Sophia, and then Stewart. You will find her if you put her name and then Matrix or Third Eye Matrix. You find her, and yeah, it's an amazing story, and it's something which is quite shocking for many people. And the whole story, what Hollywood did in detail, is just crazy. You know, they try to wipe her out of the internet, out of the memories, out of the history. You know, she never ever she could never ever release her books and write more movie scripts and all of that. They really try to make her dead. You know, try to it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
But the internet does not forget.
No, and she fought. She fought. Yeah. She's like a warrior. She never gave up, and oh my gosh, it's just crazy. And now she got rewarded. She's very rich now. Oh my gosh, she got a lot of money for it, and imagine how much money they made. But for her, I don't think it's about money. You know, it's just it. She was so over it. It wasn't about money.
Maybe she will produce the next movie with the cast she was imagining.
Yes,
before.
Yes, for sure. And that's why I really also like the Black Panther approach, and that this movie finally found its way into the big money movie theaters, because it's a good way to celebrate Black culture, to see the first real 100% Black cast. You know, it's nice to see. I would have, when I was young, I would have loved to see a movie like that, to identify with a character like the Black Panther. You know, we also always looked up to Superman and all these white superheroes. You know, and yeah, it was about time.
Recently that was coming into my mind. I was sitting with my son together, and he was watching an animation movie. I forgot the name. It's a series, but the king was like a black king with dreads, and he had a son, and the king looked like me. I mean, I had dreads some years ago, like 10 years ago, and the son looked like my son, and was something like, when I was thinking about this, was I think the first time that I watched a cartoon with my son, or with my child. I have two children, and the cast looked like me, and had let's say a king's position, you know. And it was still in this context of medieval things, and this is something I think interesting to see now, because this was done. I mean, this is always done, that the stories are adapted to the, let's say, the audience, or the powerful audience. So, and what we see now, and probably in the next years, is that we we see a more free play of people who cast this kind of movies, not only animations, of course, are real life movies as well, and it's more freedom of expression, because sometimes you have these movies like, oh, it plays in Berlin in the 20s or something, and you look at the people and it's more stereotype than it was in the 20s in Berlin. You know, probably there was more humor, there was more diversity in the people who lived there, and we have this always like this very homogeneous kind of casts and imagination about the past. So this was a past, and but this is, I think this is now beautiful. It splits up, and that's very important to see. And as you mentioned, I mean, we couldn't imagine this. I mean, there's so much still to do, and but now we have at least the first Playmobil, you know, figures, black figures, and who are not only a DJ or DJing, but maybe the head of the, I don't know, command unit. I mean, still there's a lot of stuff to do, a lot of things to do, but it will.
But you know,
change.
I always say we are not here to take part; we're here to take over. And of course, there are many things which have to be changed and which have to be better. But we have to work on it. We have to be part of it, you know. And when I leave this planet, and you don't know when you're leaving this planet, I want to leave something for the next generation. So maybe in 20 years from now, or 30 or 100 years from now, somebody will put in Afrofuturism or put in whatever they want to see in the pop culture, and maybe they will see what I left on this planet when I'm not here anymore, you know. And then they're going to look at us and say, hey, wow, these guys, they were really trying to show something with their art, you know. So the problem we have, or I have, is we are way too fast with what we are doing. When we started the whole music thing and the whole project and my music and everything, we are always like 10 years before the time, you know. When we started like 10 years ago or 9 years ago, this Black Panther thing wasn't something anybody was talking about, you know, and we were already, you know, evolving our characters, and we also had these black stage outfits where we really looked a little bit like especially Carmen. When you have I'll show you. So I don't want to drop so much promo, but if you look at this, you know, this was our first album cover in 2017, you know. So if you look at this, like especially Carmen, she could be in that Black Panther movie as a warrior queen, you know. So if you, and then this is like from Black Panther.
What year was Black Panther basically? Was it 2018 or no? It was 17, 16, 17.
No, it was 19. No, 18. 19? 2018, I think.
Because I remember there was this this how's it called? This trailer or teaser that was, I mean, 1 year already old and going through. So it took a long time to see it. But I like it. I love the aesthetic of your album.
Yeah, thanks. Really and that's what I'm saying. You never know what will be in 10 years or 5 years from now, or even next year. You never know what will happen with your art. And we're not creating art to earn money with it. You know, that was never the thing. We were doing it to find our identity, to shape our identity and also environment. We wanted to, like, especially Carmen also, she wanted to be a role model, like, for black women, you know. That's why, for example, she didn't want to be too sexy. She wanted to be tough and warrior-like, you know, and like her character is. She didn't want to be that sweet little darling and show more show more of your body and all this. No, nothing of that, you know. And that's something very, very, very refreshing, and something we all need in this society. And this doesn't have to necessarily has something to do with only color. As I said, it's also feminism, you know, which we which we need more in this society, and also from men. For me, for example, people always, I don't know how many times they ask the question if Carmen and we are together, are a couple, you know, and we were always
that was
like,
my next question.
No, we're not.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and this is annoying. This is very annoying because it's very personal,
You're two
you know. And
beautiful, handsome people, you know.
And what does that?
Sharing one stage.
Yes, but
travel together.
Yeah, but you know, these questions,
vision.
Yeah, but these questions, like especially this question, the male person, the male interviewer always asks this personal question a female artist, you know, and that's something you have to think about. That's something you have to think about. This question was
so Carmen asked this question much more than you are asked this question, or
if you, I mean, of course, most of the time we did interviews together, but if somebody interviewed her alone, she some interviewers referred to me as her partner or husband, and then Carmen was like, no. This has nothing to do. We are not together. We are just doing art together. We are friends, you know, and things like that have to change. So Afrofuturism is not only something which is related to with your color, you know. It's also it's a culture thing. It's a movement which wants to change the system, you know, systems of oppression. And many of these terms apply also to a white audience, and I think that's why Afrofuturism is so successful, because a white audience can look at it and say, "Wow, yes, I can identify with it. I can identify with her, with this strong woman approaching the battle against." A male or system, you know, or against the fight of, I don't know, two worlds colliding, you know, because of this science fiction approach. And that's very, very important, you know. And that's the thing, when you look at, for example, our fight for equality and an anti-racist approach. Often the white people are very offended, you know. If you say something, they go into this, but I have a black friend and I'm not like that, and no. Yes, sure, but that's not an anti-racist approach, because you don't say I'm anti-racist and I don't fight on your side. You know, I don't take advantage of my white privilege. And when something on the street happens, I go there with my white color, with my white privilege, and say, "Hey, stop this! You know, stop this oppression, stop this racist approach. You should shut up."
Even in your own family, I mean, being silent is not being neutral.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly. And with Afrofuturism, you have a very powerful tool to put everyone into your army. I say, you know, everyone can take one bit or this approach and say, wow, yes, this is nice. You know, I can relate to it, or I like the storyline. And then once you tell the people the whole story about it, they go like, oh wow, really? Is this really happening? Wow, why you take this approach? I never thought about it. And this storytelling is crazy, because then you have another side of this fight against racism or against injustice, and can teach your white friend or your family something about what you're going through, but with an with a futuristic approach, with an arty approach, with a cool pop approach, you know. And that's something incredible about Afrofuturism. Why I celebrate it a lot, and also me when I every time I have a look what is going on. There's so many things also on the African continent happening in this approach, in this Afrofuturistic cosmos. It's just incredible to
especially now that we have Instagram and the internet is very, very busy, and all these other social media channels, and it's like, wow, it's like a flash. I mean, when I started to do my paintings of, let's say, Afrofuturistic characters in 2000, let's say 7, I did a lot. I mean, I was doing some before, but in 2007 and 2000, beginning 2008, I was graduating with this. So 2007 was mostly a year only of drawing Afrofuturistic characters. This was, I mean, there was the internet, but it was not the internet that we know now. I mean, now it's really like you scroll through and you see so much good stuff, especially from Africa itself, and you think, oh wow, there's so many talented artists, and you can't stop looking. I mean, it's like really, wow, this is cool. Okay, yeah, this is nice, and it's like, it's like an explosion of creativity, I think, or probably it's mostly about the being able to see it. I mean, it was there before in some degree, but it's very mutually I think inspiring to see that.
Yes, for sure, for sure. And now you see the next step is we are also collaborating, and this is the beautiful thing about a movement like that. There's always a story behind what you're doing, you know. Not always, you know. I mean, if I do a beat, there's not a big story, and I say, oh yeah, I want to change the whole world, and you know, in the end of the day, I'm also human. There's not always a big story behind something, but most of the time, I have to say, as soon as you work with the right people, there will come some sort of story to your art, you know. Even
story,
if you sometimes and energy as well, but you know, not necessarily everything you do needs to have a whole big picture and whatever, you know. Sometimes I just want to you know, just want to let it flow. But when you inspire other people, they come and then they put on another twist, and you go like, wow, crazy. Like, for example, our collaboration, I did the beat because I was inspired by this kind of, you know, music from South Africa, like this electronic music approach, where I said, wow, this is dope. And then all of a sudden you come along, and now the whole beat, the music has some picture to it, you know, a story to it, which it didn't have in this Afrofuturistic cosmos. Before, it was some music related to the African continent in a futuristic approach because of this genre I was doing. But now with the imagery, it's a whole nother level, you know, and the story behind it. Now you can really say, okay, that's a big story behind it. You can really talk about it.
And we have now our friend Anbulay. I was working with her 10 years ago or something like this, or longer. And she's also willing to be part of this, and she has also so strong energy and creativity. I mean, she was also doing this kind of, let's say, or her own, you know, her own style of Afrofuturism, because she was in the electronic music scene, but with her let's say Ghanaian vocals. And this, when I saw her work or listened to her work, it was really powerful. I mean, in the let's say 2008, 9, 10, around this time. And because there was not so much, as you said, there was not so much there, and this was really inspiring, and I'm very happy that she's now also want to be part of this creative mutual exchange, and we will create something from there, just organically, just we see what comes out of it, and what will come out will be right. There's no big pressure, but it will be something authentic. That's really
that's the main thing, like the people who are on the same journey, they have
the same galaxy.
Yes. We have to understand, or not understand. We have to listen to each other, and sometimes it's just a feeling. You hear a beat, you see something, and you already know, okay, that person is understands what you are doing, or I understand what the person is trying to do there, so that's very important, and if you see stories of artists in the pop culture, they are always trying to find their identity, or maybe they had their identity and lose it because of the wrong people around them. So I really pay attention who I work with and who I surround myself with, because the wrong persons around your cosmos can really put you off course and off track. So
definitely.
And I'm happy that we found each other, and there is a lot of good things coming out. Also, I'm doing
too, my brother.
Yes. Also, I'm doing music with Ganyan Stallion. We've been creating a project for a couple of years, and it's called Ghana Bass, and that music is also awesome. It's like a mixture of Ghanaian influence, sound, and into a new approach of music. Is also incredible what we're gonna put out, and also Gato Preto. So it's, of course, this whole Corona thing slowed us down a little bit, because we had to, I think, keep the energy we have to stay sane. But this doesn't stop the whole process. Maybe it slows things down.
Ghanaian Stallion is super talented. So I mean, I see the right people are coming together.
Yes, really, and also Megalo and the BSMG thing. They started. It's also I think they also work on new stuff. So
what about One Love? Are you? I think you told me you worked with One Love.
Yes, One Love, of Fucking Boys, yes. Yeah, we also made a song with him and with Gas Miller from Ghana. Which will be out this for sure this spring, summer. Right now we are finalizing the whole tracks. Because Alan Ganyan Stallion wanted to re-listen to the stuff and maybe do some more things on the beat, on the tracks. But this will also be out very soon this year.
Like stepping one step back to step 2 steps forward.
Yes, exactly.
Making it really, really, really good.
Yes, exactly.
Pretty much looking forward.
Yes. Nice.
Yeah, cool. So maybe a last question from my side, because now, I mean, we are in the middle, and hopefully we're in the end of a pandemic.
Yeah.
And now it's the spring is coming closer. The sun is shining stronger and longer. So what are your feelings for this year, for the summer? How do you see it? Are what are your feelings or thoughts about the near future?
I think it's going to be a nice summer. So I'm planning to go to Ghana.
Nice.
So my mind is where I want to be. Like my mind is it's in the here and now. But I try to not focus on those negative things. I try to create. I try to surround myself with things I like, with things I love. Like, for example, the music, the art, And for the summer, I imagine that is going to be a nice time, and that this pandemic will slowly leave again, and also all these restrictions will go away. So I'm looking.
The pandemic will leave. Let's hope the restriction will leave too.
As well, yes. But you know, if the restrictions are taking too long, I will find a way. We have to find a way to regain our energy. So I will try to travel and go to Ghana for some time, like maybe for 4 weeks or something, because I really need it to recalibrate and re-energize. So, but in the end, everything will be fine. I think there will be better times very soon.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. I think so too. There will be better times, and it's good to focus on positive projects and creative things. So yeah, this will also, I mean, come out when all the people come together closer to each other.
Yes.
There will be time for this to celebrate what you're working on right now.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, cool. Thank you very much, David Lee, for
you're welcome.
taking your time, for being here, for sharing your thoughts about Afrofuturism and something about your life and the next steps. And
yes,
yeah, I love to hear your sound, and I hope that we can collaborate very often and yeah, make people coming together and enjoy our audiovisual artwork.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Cool.
Bye-bye.
I hope you feel inspired. Check out the work of Lee-Base here in the description below, and also the brilliant music videos he has done together with his Gato Preto collective. Thank you very much, enjoy your day, and see you next time. Bye bye.